Hey, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Adrian here. So I recently just got back from a trip from San Francisco to Chicago, Chicago up to New York, New York back down to Chicago, and then as of yesterday, Chicago back to San Francisco over the course of a week and a half. Quite the trip, really productive trip in that it was both for leisure and work. You see, I got to go visit my family and my sister out in Chicago. My other sister flew from New York, and my mom flew all the way in from Japan. So it was nice to see and spend time with family. At the same time, I got to make a stop over in New York for a quick 48-hour turnaround trip to meet with a client and meet with our team and new hires in New York as we expand our presence out in the East Coast. So overall, really, really great trip. And as I unpacked here, I have a lot to show for it. So this is a perfect whole cross intersection between lifestyle, clothing, and some accessories I picked up, as well as kind of gaming and technology, really just kind of showcasing a lot of what I'm into and passionate about right now. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it and showcase the haul here from the trip. Starting off with the lifestyle stuff, so if you want to jump into the tech stuff, feel free to just click down below and hit that timestamp. But I made my way to Chicago first, and I wanted to showcase this first and foremost. This is actually a gift that I got. As I mentioned, my mom flew in from Japan. She stopped by one of the consignment or secondhand stores that we used to go to a lot back when I was in Japan, and she picked me up this Versace dress watch. And this is a real throwback for me because this is just this kind of simple black dress watch, gold accent, white face with a gold Roman numerals and the Greek key pattern, as well as that iconic Medusa head from Versace. Watches, timepieces were one of the first things I really got into collecting, and when I first started making my own money, something that I got into because of my parents. I remember seeing my dad's first Rolex and really being enamored by that. But before I could really afford anything like that, I was really into like just designer watches in the beginning, Burberry, other random, fashion houses. And a Versace watch was one of the first things I bought way back when. Fortunately, that watch broke a couple years back. So my mom actually found this in the store, saw it at a good price at the secondhand store, and it's in immaculate condition, basically brand new. And yeah, nice little gift from her. So again, just a simple designer watch, but nonetheless, really nice to add to the collection. In terms of what I personally picked up while I was on the trip, typically when it comes to clothing and accessories, that's usually what I spring for when I'm on these trips, but didn't get too much this time around. I did get to stop by the Kith store in New York, the streetwear brand, and I picked up a new pair of these shades right here for the kind of summertime. This is a brand that I've seen before on Instagram and social media and finally got to see it in person in store. This is a brand by the name of Vintage Frames. So they make kind of like the modern approach to vintage eyewear and sunglasses. So you can see here, these are these gold ones with these dark blue accents. They also make them in like green and some other colorways. But I thought this blue and gold is really striking, as you can see here, and it has these nice little details on the frames with a kind of little rope chain and a throwback to these kind of vintage frames that are really popular right now. I've been really wanting a pair of Cartier vintage frames, but these will have to do in the meantime and not break the bank as much. These retail for about $200. Again, the company is called Vintage Frames. You can look up online. They're a popular online retailer. And if you're looking for sunglasses or shades that are a little bit unique, that won't entirely break the bank, Vintage Frames. Check them out. While I was at the Kith store, I also managed to pick up a new baseball cap or hat that is from their new collection. So this is their baseball tees. I've only recently gotten into hats, and this still needs to be shaped and bent, but only recently gone into hats, and especially now with my hair the way it is, it's always nice to just kind of throw this on when I head out. But I got this baseball cap because I love the colorway. It's kind of like this cotton candy colorway with this light blue, the white Kith logo there, and then this kind of salmon pink brim with the little accents here. So very pastel colorway, and again, something I was looking for, just kind of mix it up and add some more brighter colors to the wardrobe. This retails for like $60, $65. You can easily order this online from the Kith store. They have a ton of different caps in stock right now. While I was at the Kith store in New York, I also managed to stop by the OVO store because it was right across the street from where I was having lunch. I had a phenomenal lunch at a sushi restaurant by the name of Sushi by M. Had a really great omakase there. But aside the point, I stopped by October very own Drake's clothing brand, merch brand, whatever you want to call it. If you know me, you know I'm a big fan. I walked in just to check out the pieces they had, and originally I saw this kind of like, it's a long sleeve polo that meets like tracksuit vibes. It has that kind of velour feel to it in material, and has this kind of Neapolitan ice cream colorway, pink, gray, and white. But But yeah, this is a long sleeve polo that I originally was really into. They also had one in blue. But again, kind of going off the hat, I wanted to mix it up. I wanted to get something that's not my usual colorway and palette and just kind of try something different. So I ended up getting this, and I had a matching set of shorts here, again in that same kind of like tracksuit material that I ended up opting for the matching set. Even though that's not typically something I would rock, I figured they're great individual pieces where you can wear them separately, or, you know, if you want to wear the matching set, kind of step outside your comfort zone, which I think is important in style and fashion every now and again, even if you think you can't rock it, even if it's not something you're typically used to rocking, whether it's a color or style, it's always worth trying out now and again. So this full set retails for like $230, $40 after tax, give or take, for both pieces, and it comes in a blue colorway, so depending on when you're watching this video, you can easily hop on their site and check it out. Last but not least, in terms of clothing, I picked up these Theory pants. Theory, a very well-known clothing brand. These are these charcoal gray pants here. Really, really great material, very soft, and really nice fitting. So I got these at Nordstrom Rack, actually. So these typically retail for like $200+ for these pants. Got them for $89. So a huge deal. Came in my size. Run a little long, so I had to cuff them, but easily something that you can get tailored or fixed or just rock with the cuff. I've been meaning to restock and just kind of re-up on my pant wardrobe because early on, I spent a lot of like money on like fast fashion pieces like Forever 21, H&M, and quality-wise, those just didn't really withstand over the years. So a lot of my pants nowadays, especially ones from like Zara and whatnot, have either shrunk, broke, so on and so forth. So trying to invest in more quality pieces when it comes to like pants and bottoms. So this Theory pants set or pants will be a nice addition to that wardrobe. So yeah, that wraps up the kind of lifestyle side of things. Didn't go too crazy this time around. However, on the opposite spectrum, my other kind of big passion and hobby right now that I'm collecting for, as you can see behind me, is the kind of video game / retro gaming scene. Over the last year, I've really been trying to collect a lot of old consoles I had as a kid, or get consoles and games I never had growing up, and been really fortunate to accrue a lot of that recently. And now I have much more stuff to show for it. So let's kind of break it down here. Starting with my trip to Chicago. I went to multiple game stores while I was in Chicago because I was there for the longest period of time. First, I stopped by a store that's called The Exchange, which is a chain store that's throughout, I think, like the Midwest and East Coast. Basically, it's video games, music, movies. I picked up these 3 games from The Exchange. First and foremost was Rampage World Tour. This is the original Rampage for the N64. I'm trying to get a complete collection of N64 titles and the North American titles. So picked this up for like $30. Picked up The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D for the 3DS for $25. And then last but not least, I picked up Blitz the League, a game I've been meaning to play and wanting to play for a long time because I hadn't played it since I was younger, for the original Xbox. And I got this for like $7. Funny thing is, I don't even have my original Xbox here, so it's still another console I need to accrue or have shipped back from home. So yeah, there's just 3 titles, quick pickups from The Exchange. The next store I stopped by when I was there was the one that was actually highly reviewed on Yelp, and when I looked up like retro game stores in the area, it was called Video Games Now and Then. And they had a lot of great reviews, and it was a great store. However, when I went, it was maybe just bad timing. The stock or inventory just wasn't great. They're pretty wiped out. However, I did manage to find a couple of gems. First and foremost, GameCube title, Super Monkey Ball, complete in box with the manual, and pretty good condition on the case. So a classic GameCube title for sure that I've been meaning to add. So Super Monkey Ball, if you know, you know. Again, classic title for the GameCube. Speaking of GameCube titles, I also picked up Star Wars Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2. Again, GameCube was one of the consoles I never had growing up, so kind of rebuilding this classic collection. Again, I've been looking for a lot of the Player's Choice games, and this is another classic. Got this for $18. And at checkout, picked up just some quick items. I saw this 60 gig hard drive for the Xbox 360 for like $24. Decided to pick it up because I had my 360 shipped from Japan back there, missing the hard drive, so I figured why not complete it and just get this 60 gig hard drive. Also, at checkout, I just saw this quick item. These are coasters. These are NES classic title coasters, so Mario, Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, all that stuff, but they're like these cardboard coasters. So I figured these are just cool decorations for the office. So those were my pickups from Video Games Now and Then and The Exchange, but my last stop in Chicago, and one of the biggest stores I definitely got the most stuff at, was a store by the name of Retro Dimension. This is a store that is located in Chicago, and I'd highly recommend checking out. Definitely my favorite stop of all the places. Had the most unique selection, very well organized store. The owner was great and really knew his stuff. again, just a wide selection of stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about what I picked up there. So first and foremost, again, NFL Blitz, the original for the N64, the classic title. Had to pick this up for the collection. I got this for like less than $20, I believe. I also picked up 2 Sega Dreamcast games, which I'll talk about more in a bit. First off, Ready to Rumble Boxing, a classic that I had on the N64. I had to get for the Dreamcast at $25. And then I also got the original NBA 2K. I'm a big 2K fan and basketball fan in general. It's really what got my start here on YouTube, in fact. But this is the OG Sega Sports NBA 2K. Got this for like $16, and this is an AI on the cover there. So that's just nice to have for the collection. I also picked up this $2 cheap case. I don't know if this is an actual original case or like an Etsy case, but this is just an N64 kind of like collector's edition for Majora's Mask, where you can put the cartridge and the expansion pack. Thought it was just a cool display item to put on the shelf, and if I ever do, which I do plan on getting, Majora's Mask, the physical edition cartridge, I can put it in here. Lastly, I picked up Hunter of the Reckoning Wayward for PlayStation 2. I was a big Hunter of the Reckoning fan originally for the Xbox. I'm assuming this is like the sequel, but got this for $10, so it's an easy pickup for PlayStation 2. Was a big fan of this game, so again, Hunter the Reckoning Wayward. It's kind of like an RPG top-down style, but yeah, definitely happy to add this to the collection. And now for the big ticket items that I picked up at Retro Dimension. I originally had planned on getting these items in New York because I knew I was going to another store that had them in stock. However, I saw the condition of these consoles at Retro Dimension and then ended up going for them. First and foremost is a stunning ice blue Nintendo 64 in immaculate condition. So I got this for $250, which for those who are not in the retro scene may think that's crazy because this is a console that came out in the 90s and you can easily buy a modern console like the Nintendo Switch for that much. But this is definitely something I got for like a collector's item. I have a Nintendo 64 already back here, a Japanese edition, the OG black model, but I had to get this because I've always wanted the fantastic color lines. They reminded me a lot of like the iMac G3s. And just the condition that this was in, whether it was the previous owner or the store owner who really meticulously cleans his products, this is just a really, really immaculate condition. N64 came complete with cables. It basically looks brand new in its condition. And it came with, of course, the matching ice blue controller here. So again, just a really classic pickup to add to the collection. And then on that same vein, this is another console I've been hunting for quite some time, and that is the Sega Dreamcast. So this is, a classic console as well, way ahead of its time. I got this for $120. He also had a couple other consoles that had like the special edition Dreamcast or the complete box set, but given I was traveling, I just opted for the console because I was already limited on space. So this came with the cables as well. He also threw in a controller and the OG VMU pack, though I do need to replace the battery in this. And he also threw in a HDMI adapter for the Sega Dreamcast so I can hook it up to a more modern TV. So again, Sega Dreamcast, this is a pickup I've been definitely looking for and hunting for. Now I finally have it in the collection. I never had this growing up, always had to play it at friends' houses. So it's finally great to add this console to the collection. Last but not least was my journey to New York. I was there only for 48 hours, and some of that was dominated by the work trip. So the stops I did get to make were pretty quick, but I did get to stop by the Nintendo New York store, as you can see, pick up this quick shirt. I also picked up a pack of playing cards, which don't seem to have in front of me right now, but there were just these Zelda playing cards. I'll throw in a clip of them. They were imported from Japan, and they're like $12. So I thought, why not throw those in here? Actually, here they are, right here. And then the one store I did want to stop by while I was in New York was a store that was recommended heavily to me, and that was J&L Games in New York. And again, this was a classic one. Wasn't too far from the Nintendo shop. So what I ended up picking up from there were a couple things. First and foremost was the Retro Fighters controller for the Dreamcast. This is like a modern controller for the Dreamcast, and in that it just has that modern feel and ergonomic, design, while still supporting a lot of the classic Dreamcast accessories. Whenever I get a console, I always like to have at least 2 controllers to play with somebody, so nice to add this kind of modern controller by Retro Fighters to the collection. I also picked up Rampage 2 because I was looking for this originally when I was getting Rampage. This is the game that I played the most on the N64. I remember my sister and I playing this a ton of times back in the day, so this is Rampage 2 Universal Tour for the N64 that I can now drop into my collection and have complete with the OG Rampage as well. And then last but not least, and actually the most